To talk about a time where I worked effectively under pressure, I would like to talk about my experience working at Simtrax, the most recent job that I had. And the situation revolves around uh, because we're on a sales team, our job is to convert leads into customers. So, what we were doing, we were we were doing a trial of a product that we wanted to bring on board, and it was supposed to help us generate leads. The potential product was called Rain King, and what it does is it provides information on a company based on what the employees uh, know about the company. So our software worked with a specific hardware, so we were looking for people in the company who worked with that hardware. So we could search employees who worked with that hardware or companies that had worked with that hardware. So the we had 3 days for the trial, and what we were supposed to do with the information was make sure that the information works well with us, and that it's something that we could work with in the long run, and then bring Rain King as a part of our sales tools. So my sales team, our plan was to just strip information off of Rain King and then put it into spreadsheets. So over the course of those 3 days, my task was mainly just to take the information and customize that into functional spreadsheets for my team. So it was a really long process, and um, the 3 days having that kind of time constraint on just stripping off information because I was just searching for the hardware. A lot of people, a lot of companies came up under those searches, and creating those spreadsheets, it took a very long time, and then it took maybe until like day two, to be honest, to find out a spreadsheet that works well with all the right categories and columns, so that my team could better use them when looking for potential customers. So it was really long, and creating that spreadsheet really did help, and making sure that it was a functional spreadsheet, and it did take time, but even with the 3 day constraint, I still managed to get all the spreadsheets working for my team. And by the end of it, as a result, we were able to, have spreadsheets based on regions, based on, who already controls the companies based on the locations. So it was really good. And even though the time restraint was there, I was able to effectively create something that worked well for our team. For a time where I showed initiative, um, I would like to talk about my experience at Black Duck. And so, my experience at Black Duck was an internship through Europe, and Black Duck it has had a lot of interns host internships or co-ops from other colleges at their organization, so they weren't unfamiliar with having interns work with them. So, but on the sales team, which was the intern group I was a part of, um, we interns on the sales team weren't our main jobs were to just really go through and find leads on the various sales tools that they have, and not really act upon them. So we were just more of like information gatherers for the BDRs, the business development reps. So we were sort of just teeing up information for them to take action upon. But the intern group that I was a part of, we wanted to do a lot more. So although our tasks was mainly information gathering, we wanted to take on the role of what the BDRs did. So the BDRs had to learn the Black Duck sales method, and be well versed on the phone, and be able to effectively bring a prospect down their sales method to bring them to their next meeting, which qualifies them as an SQL, which goes towards their commission. So we want to take on the responsibilities of a BDR. So we practiced a lot. We learned the scripts, the cold calling scripts that we had. We started making our own cadences. A cadence is uh, sort of like a group of prospects that you're currently working on. So you're currently calling them every day. You're shooting them emails. So that's a cadence. We set up our own cadences. So every week, I would have a different cadence. I would keep filtering them and narrowing them down to find out, who's been, interested, who's not been interested. So, my intern group, along with myself, we took on those responsibilities. We wanted to show that, yeah, we can take on these responsibilities and hold ourselves accountable to them. And we could learn the black duck method. We could learn the sales method. We would take time out of the day and sit down and practice doing the cold calling scripts, making sure that we were ready and that we were working as effective as just another BDR. As a result, throughout my internship experience working with Black Duck and showing that initiative and wanting to take on more responsibilities, they had offered me a job at Black Duck. Ultimately, I did turn that job down, but as a result, I was able to show them that I was worth keeping on the team because of my initiative. And I got to say this too: my whole team's initiative, the intern team that I was with, we all showed initiative to take on more responsibilities than just being from the start, just being information gatherers. So that was the result of showing initiative in that situation. For what I like to do in my spare time, that answer could be very broad. Some days I like to spend time with my family, mostly, well, mainly my cousins and my sister, and we just like to hang out, listen to music. Other times when I'm by myself, I like to watch documentaries. I know that sounds kind of boring, but I like learning about the history of places, and it sounds kind of weird, but I like googling and watching documentaries like on the history of Egypt, the history of Africa, the history of slavery, the history of civil rights. I like watching those kind of videos. It sort of speaks to how people sort of evolve socially from the history that came before us. And I think it's interesting to see how events came into motion, how they played out. And I love watching those kind of documentaries. Recently, in my spare time, I've added something to that because I'm looking to break into the industry of finance. So I've been watching videos and going on something called Investopedia.com. It helps people who are not really familiar with the information get familiar with the information, so I could better myself and understand more about you know what it is to talk intelligently in the finance industry, to really understand numbers more than just someone who is just starting would understand them. I'm trying to use that to my advantage, and that's what I like to do in my spare time. For the last thing, I would like you to know about me. To describe myself as a worker, um, I'd like to use the word merit. I think that everybody should strive for merit. I mean, that sounds kind of crazy, but you know, work, the results that you produce from the work that you do, whatever function it is, whatever industry you're in, your results should set an example for those around you and for future employees of the job. I mean, work is something that you continually improve upon. you find better ways to get what you do done better, faster, and whatever you produce, make that work more effectively, more efficiently. It's That's just how work is. And I think that to strive to have something better, you have to strive to want to make that better. And I think merit sums that all up. I think merit is something that should I think a worker should be, striving for merit all the time when it comes to getting work done, whatever their tasks or responsibilities are.